Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to learn more idioms and increase our efficiency of communication skills, because using idioms in your communication skill is going to make you sound far more impressive and far more effective. So number one is come of age. Come of age means coming to one's legal age. Okay, if one has attained a legal age of adulthood, that person can be called he has come of age. For example, a boy asks his father, why not to apply for driving license? He has come of age. That means he has attained a legal age of being called an adult. Okay. All agog means excited, very interested. If you are all agog about something, that means you are excited and very interested about that particular thing. For example, if you are visiting your native after long years, then you are anticipating seeing your childhood friends there. At least some of them still might be there. So you are all agog in anticipation of seeing your childhood friends at your native. So that means you are all excited and very interested to see your childhood friends, to meet your childhood friends. Castles in the air. Castles in the air means dreaming, impractical. If someone is making castles in the air, that means he is just dreaming about things. He is being impractical. He is never putting himself into action of achieving that thing. For example, you can think of making yourself that person, that big person. You are thinking in your mind of achieving that goal, but you are never taking action for it. That means you are dreaming, you are being very impractical. You are all the time making castles in the air. Okay. Up in the air. Up in the air means something that is not yet decided. It is still up in the air. For example, the government is brooding over implementing a new tax regime, but it is still up in the air. But it is still up in the air. That means it is still yet not decided, but he is just brooding over. Okay, something yet not decided. That means it is up in the air. All ears. All ears. Someone listens to you with great attention. That means he is all ears to whatever you are speaking. Isn't? So a teacher might ask all students to be all ears when he is delivering a lecture. That means he asks the students to be very attentive or to listen to him with great attention. Okay, all ears mean to listen someone with great attention. All hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose. That means a shock-like situation, a sort of turmoil. If you find yourself in such a situation which actually you weren't expecting, so there develops a shock-like situation for you. You weren't expecting actually that, and something happened out of the blue. So it's kind of all hell breaks loose. For example, your father had gone for an official work and he was away for 5 days, and one day he rang you asking not to party at home with your friends, and you promised him, of course I'm not going to do that. But still you were blatantly disobeying your father, and you had a party at your home the next day, and suddenly your father reached home unexpectedly. It was a kind of bolt from the blue, isn't it? So all hell broke loose upon you. All hell broke loose on you because you weren't expecting anything like this, and it was a complete shock-like situation for you. All that glitters is not gold. All that glitters is not gold. That means things may not be as good as they appear. Everything that glitters is not gold, as the words itself indicate a bit of its meaning. That means everything that we see as good may not be good or might not be good. So whatever way the things appear, it's not necessary that we are having the same kind of qualities about that particular thing as attractive they appear. So all that glitters is not gold. Things may not be as good as they appear. Run amok. Run amok means a sudden violent behavior. For example, elephant entered into the colony and he ran amok. Okay, that means he suddenly went into kind of frenzy, or he suddenly had a sudden violent behavior, and everyone was so panicky and running helter-skelter to save their lives. So run amok, that means a sudden violent behavior. Okay, draw an analogy. Draw an analogy, that means make comparison. If you are comparing two different things and you are relating these two things with a similarity, while you are comparing these two different things, you are taking out a similarity between the two things in order to compare these two things. Okay, that is draw an analogy. For example, we generally employ it when we try to explain some complex or complicated things in a simpler way. So we are going to give you an example of a simpler things that everyone knows about in order to explain that complicated thing. For example, heart is like a pump. Heart is like a pump. What does pump do? Pump, it pumps out the content or the water, whatever it is used for. The same way the heart functions, it pumps out the blood. So the person has made an analogy of heart with pump. Okay, pump is simpler thing, heart is complex structure. So if someone is not understanding what heart is, what does it do, then we have made an analogy of it with pump. Okay, we have drawn an analogy. Okay. Answer back. Answer back means to reply impolitely. If you are answering back to someone, that means you are replying to that person impolitely. We should not be answering back to our elders. That means we should not be replying back to our elders with impolite manners. Okay. On the anvil. On the anvil means under discussion. If something is on the anvil, that means something is still under discussion. It hasn't been yet implemented. So again, the concept of implementing a new tax regime is on the anvil. It is under discussion. Anything but. Anything but. That means not at all. It could be anything, but it cannot be that. So the meaning of anything but means not at all. For example, he is anything but a good person. That means he could be anything, but he is not a good person. Okay? Or the food in the restaurant is anything but bad. I mean, the food in the restaurant is not bad. Okay? Drift apart. Drift apart means it indicates a growing separation. If someone is drifting apart, that means he is separating himself, or they are just making a separation. A growing separation is happening there. After the death of their father, the two brothers drifted apart. That means they grew in separation, and the separation grew between them. They just went their own ways. Okay? Whet your appetite. Whet your appetite. That means increase your interest into something. Whet your appetite. For example, a girl danced for the first time on the stage in front of an audience, and she was applauded for her moves or for dancing so well. So that encouraged her. So it whetted her appetite to learn dancing far more, sincerely. So it whetted her appetite. That means it made her to be more interested, in learning the dance, because he got appreciation for his debut dance. Rotten apple. Rotten apple means a bad person who influences others adversely. He is called a rotten apple. There are many rotten apples in the society, in every society nowadays. That means there are a lot of bad persons in every society nowadays who influence people adversely. Okay, they are labeled as rotten apple. An apple of discord. An apple of discord. That means a cause of contention. Another idiom for the same is a bone of contention. So that is an apple of discord. A piece of land of their ancestors became an apple of discord between two brothers. That means each one was trying to really have that piece of land. No was one letting it go to another person. So they were having an apple of discord about that piece of land. So my dear friends, we have covered these idioms today. I hope you got the meaning of these idioms pretty well in your mind, and I hope that you are going to retain them in your memory. Just go through these idioms, write these idioms on a piece of paper and try to implement them, incorporate them in your own sentences, frame your sentences, structure your sentences around these idioms, and that's how not only you are going to remember the idioms, but you are also going to improve your communication skill, because you are exercising your mind about framing your sentences in your own words. That is the most important thing. If you are trying to explain something in your own words, that means you are exercising your communication skill, my dear friends. This is going to help you a lot. That means you are killing two birds with one stone. Thank you. Good day.